Since 2021, Russian Wagner mercenaries have detained, tortured, and forcibly disappeared hundreds of civilians in secret prisons across Mali, according to a joint investigation published on June the 12th by IStories, France 24, Le Monde, and IStories. The investigation found that mercenaries with Russia's Wagner Group, working alongside Malian government forces, had systematically abducted and detained civilians, holding them in prisons at former United Nations bases and military bases across Mali. Drawing on eyewitness accounts and satellite imagery, the investigation identified 6 detention centers where the Wagner held civilians between 2022 and 2024. The total number of Wagner detention centers in Mali is likely to be much higher. Prisoners were subjected to systematic torture, including beatings, waterboarding, electric shock, starvation, and confinement in sweltering metal containers. The investigation was carried out as part of the Victoria project in memory of Ukrainian journalist Victoria Roshchina, who was captured by Russian forces in 2023 while investigating the illegal detention of civilians in Russian-occupied territories of Ukraine. She was killed in Russian captivity in 2024. The Russian mercenary group, known for its deployment in Ukraine and short-lived rebellion against the Kremlin in 2023, has a strong presence across the African continent, backing Russian business interests and Moscow-friendly regimes. The mercenaries have been particularly active in Mali since late 2021 and have been accused of perpetrating war crimes. In December 2024, Human Rights Watch accused Wagner mercenaries and Malian government forces of deliberately killing 32 civilians. The Wagner Group recently announced its withdrawal from Mali, where it fought alongside Malian government forces to fend off Islamist insurgents. Wagner has been active across the African continent for years and has previously been accused of committing human rights abuses. Mali's ruling junta enlisted the services of Wagner fighters following 2 coups led by Colonel Assimi Goïta in 2020 and 2021. The group has supported Malian military operations against jihadists and Tuareg separatists. Their deployment was made easier by France's military withdrawal, finalized in 2022 after 9 years of military operations against terrorist groups in Mali and the end of the UN peacekeeping mission in December 2023. The Wagner Group has been repeatedly accused of committing crimes against civilians while operating alongside the Malian armed forces in central and northern Mali. Civilians have been deliberately targeted since Wagner's arrival, said Ivan Guichawa, a researcher at the Bonn International Center for Conflict Studies. Security forces tend to view populations living in jihadist-influenced areas as collaborators, he told the investigation. Earlier this month, Malian diplomatic and security sources said Wagner had left Mali and his units had been taken over by the Afrika Korps, a Russian paramilitary group managed by the Russian government. According to investigative project Systema, funds linked to former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev have amassed approximately $850 million in wealth since Russia began its full-scale war of aggression against Ukraine. The growing wealth of these funds coincides with the wartime reincarnation of Medvedev, 59, who was dismissed as Prime Minister by President Vladimir Putin in 2020. Medvedev, who retains his role in the government as Deputy Chairman of Putin's Security Council and Chairman of the ruling United Russia Party, has also been able to gain an audience of millions in his new role as an online attack dog and aggressive online propagandist. Medvedev, once a mild, moderate political figure, has now become a warmonger with extremely harsh and hateful statements against Kiev and the West on social media. According to financial documents reviewed by Systema, a total of 15 funds linked to Medvedev received a total of 28 billion rubles, or $424 million between 2015 and 2021. This figure increased to more than 130 billion rubles, or $1.39 billion between 2022 and 2024, with more than half of this amount received last year alone. According to Systema's investigation, the documents showed that these entities had a total of 23.5 billion rubles, or $316 million, at the end of 2021 and around 86.4 billion rubles, or $850 million, at the end of 2024. Systema found that these funds were directed to real estate projects with clear ties to Medvedev, from Russian forces fighting in Ukraine to St. Petersburg to the Black Sea coast. These foundations do not disclose their donors to the public, and only 2 of the 14 foundations currently have websites. One of them, the Nasha Pravda Foundation, says it has spent 2.4 billion rubles on special military operations over the past 2 years. This money is said to have been spent on the purchase of thousands of drones, night vision goggles, generators, medical equipment, and other supplies. According to Alexei Sidyakin, head of the Central Executive Committee of the United Russia Party, Nasha Pravda was created at the initiative of Medvedev, and this foundation cooperated with the party. For example, according to information on the foundation's website, in February 2025, the party and the foundation jointly provided equipment worth 14 million rubles, or $177,000, to a Russian military unit. Medvedev's 29-year-old son Ilya, who joined the party in September 2022, also attended the presentation ceremony. Information on the Nasha Pravda website noted that he worked as a project director in the party committee. Only a few funds provide detailed information about the purposes of their spending, but evidence suggests that some of these funds were used for purposes that directly or indirectly supported real estate projects linked to Medvedev.